So given theta is in standard position with its terminal arm in quadrant 4 and cos theta equals 2/5, before I read the rest of that part of that question, the first part of this question, what does that remind you of? What kind of question is this going to be? They tell us the quadrant and they tell us cos is 2/5. We've done lots of these. What kind of question is that? What kind of strategy do we use? You guys are going for the loudest class ever award. I should just stop till people say something. Okay. You've done lots of these. What do you do when it tells you the quadrant and an angle? It tells you cos theta equals 2/5. What have we done every time? Triangle. Yes, we drew a triangle. So if you know it's in quadrant 4, you can draw that angle in quadrant 4. And if you know that cos of theta is 2/5, well, that's not even in quadrant 4. Okay, if you know it's in quadrant 4, you can draw it in quadrant 4. That looks a little bit better. And if you know that cos of theta is 2/5, you can label adjacent over hypotenuse. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you'll get the other side to be the square root of 21. Now, based on this, we already knew that cos of theta was 2/5. We now know that sine of theta is negative root 21 over 5, because sine is negative in quadrant 2. So in part A, we want to figure out what is sine of 2 theta, and now we have a formula for that. That sine of 2 theta is 2 sine theta cos theta. We can't just double, okay, careful here, that 2 theta is doubling the angle. It's not doubling sine theta. So we can't just take the answer for sine theta and double it. But since we have a formula for sine 2 theta, we can say, I know what sine theta is. I know what cos theta is. I can just go to this expression, and instead of sine theta, I now can write negative root 21 over 5. And instead of cos theta, I can write 2 over 5. And now it's just a matter of multiplying fractions. Multiply the tops, you'll get negative 4 root 21. Multiply the bottoms, all over 25. For part B asks you to find cos 2 theta. Now, with cos 2 theta, there are 3 formulas to choose from. And they will all work, and they will all give you the right answer. But often one is just a little bit better than the other ones. So I want you to look at this, in this question in particular, look at the 3, and pick the one that you think is the best in this situation and come up with a reason why. So there's cos squared minus sine squared, 1 minus 2 sine squared, and 2 cos squared minus 1. The other nice thing about choosing the 2 cos squared minus 1, I wrote the sine theta in green because we figured it out. In the question, they gave us cos, so I wrote it in blue because we were given that information. There's absolutely no way that we could make a mistake with cos unless we wrote it down wrong. But we had to calculate sine. So there's a possibility that I made a mistake while doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. There's a possibility that I could have forgot the negative in quadrant 4 because I wasn't thinking about the cast rule. So if I used any of the formulas with sine, there's a possibility I might have made a mistake in my calculations before. But using the 2 cos squared minus 1, I'm only using information I was given, so there's no possibility of making a mistake other than writing it down wrong and looking at it wrong. And it's also nice because cos doesn't have any square roots, and sine does have square roots. So it makes your mental math maybe a little bit easier. So now going forward and figuring this out, well, we have 2 cos squared. Well, I know that cos was 2/5, so cos squared will be 2/5 squared minus 1. And now it's just some mental math with fractions. Order of operations, square first. This will be 4 over 25 minus 1. Multiply those fractions will be 8 over 25. I'll change the 1 to 25 over 25. And so we get negative 17 over 25 for cos 2 theta. Now looking at our entire answer, theta was in quadrant 4. In what quadrant is 2 theta? If theta is in quadrant 4, what quadrant would 2 theta be in? And how do you know it's in quadrant 3? Yeah, both of our answers for sine and cos of 2 theta were negative. And the only quadrant where that happens, where both of them are negative, would be in quadrant 3. Okay, try question number 9.